Today we're going to look at section 10.2, the preterite and the imperfect. So now that we've learned the forms of the preterite and the imperfect, we're going to look at more how they're used, because they're not simply interchangeable. In Spanish, the choice between these two tenses depends on the context and the point of view of the speaker. So we know that the only difference really between these two tenses is the verbal aspect. We know they're both en el pasado, and they're both en el indicativo, but the difference, as I said, lies in the verbal aspect, the notion of is it over with or completed, or is it ongoing or continuous. So in el aspecto perfectivo, we have un tiempo definitivo, like just a defined amount of time, which includes the preterite tense. And then, of course, there's also el aspecto imperfectivo, which is an acción continua, like a continuous action, notion that it isn't finished with. So there are many other perfectivo aspecto tenses. For example, of course, el pretérito is probably the most common. I did, it's very over with. Or el presente perfectivo, present perfect, I have done. Pasado perfectivo, I had done. They're called perfectivo tenses, of course, because they're in the perfectivo aspecto. They're very much over with. You know both the beginning and the end time, and they're sort of completed. Versus el aspecto imperfectivo, which of course imperfecto is in I was doing or I used to do. El presente is also an imperfectivo tense. I do, I will do, I am doing, all imply that you don't really know the time parameters. And also el presente progresivo, I am doing. So we use the preterite to express actions that are viewed by the speaker as completed. Sandra se rompió la pierna. Sandra broke her leg. O fueron a Buenos Aires ayer. They went to Buenos Aires yesterday. Whereas the imperfect is used to describe an ongoing past action with no reference to its beginning or its end. Sandra esperaba al doctor. O el médico se preocupaba por sus pacientes. The doctor worried about his patients. We also use the preterite to express the beginning or end of a past action. For example, when something begins or ends, empezar o terminar. La película empezó a las 9. O ayer terminé el proyecto para la clase de química. Because the notion of beginning or ending something is very much un aspecto perfectivo. It's very much over with and done. Whereas the imperfect is used to express habitual past actions in events. Cuando era joven, jugaba al tenis. O de niño, Eduardo se enfermaba con mucha frecuencia. We use the preterite to narrate a series of past actions or events. Just kind of like 1, 2, 3, these verbs that happen all in a row. La doctora me miró los oídos, me hizo unas preguntas y escribió la receta. She looked at my ears, asked me some questions, and wrote the prescription. As you notice, those are all sort of finished with, right? They're over. Me di con la mesa, me caí y me lastimé. Bumped into the table, fell, and injured my foot. Whereas the imperfect is used to describe physical and emotional states or characteristics in the past. La chica quería descansar. Se sentía mal y tenía dolor de cabeza. She wanted to rest, felt ill, and had a headache. Ellos eran altos y tenían ojos verdes. Estábamos felices de ver a la familia. All very continuous, imperfectivo things. So the preterite and the imperfect will often appear in the same sentence in the past. In such cases, the imperfect describes what was happening, while the preterite describes the action that interrupted the ongoing activity. For example, miraba la tele cuando sonó el teléfono. I was watching TV when interrupting action. Sonó el teléfono. If you think about it, the phone ringing is sort of over with and done. It's a action that has been completed. Whereas I was watching TV is certainly ongoing in the past. And that's why they use the imperfect for the ongoing one and the pretérito for the finished one. Felicia leía el periódico cuando llegó Ramiro. She was reading the newspaper continuously when Ramiro arrived. And the interrupting action is in el pretérito. We also see the preterite and imperfect together in narratives such as fiction, news, and retelling of events. The imperfect provides background information such as time, weather, location, while the preterite indicates the specific events that occurred. Por ejemplo, eran las 12 de la mañana y el detective ya no podía mantenerse despierto. Se bajó lentamente del coche, estiró las piernas y levantó los brazos hacia el cielo oscuro.